Now, after Rishi Sunak offered pay rises of around 6% to millions of public sector workers in a bid to end the devastating strikes, the 5-day strike continues by junior doctors in England.
In what is thought to be the longest single period of industrial action in NHS history, the British Medical Association has been asking the government for a 35% wage increase to factor in below inflation pay awards over the last 15 years.
The BMA has described a previous 5% offer as not credible and are continuing with their fourth junior doctor strike in this ongoing dispute. Joining us now in the studio is GB News political reporter Olivia Utley. Oh my. So are they still hanging out for the 35% pay rise, despite the fact they've been offered 6%, but with that lump sum for junior doctors, it's actually just over 10%?
Well, absolutely. They do seem to be holding out for that 35%. Now, where that figure comes from is the unions believe that 35% pay increase would restore junior doctors to levels that they were on in 2008 before the financial crash. According to the unions' calculations, pay has been sinking in real terms ever since then, and so a 35% pay increase is needed simply to get back to the levels they were at 15 years ago. Of course, the government is maintaining that that is simply impossible. It's given a 5 to 7% pay rise to pretty much all public sector workers, and almost all of the unions seem to be happy with that. On Thursday and Friday, the government was sounding very chipper because the teaching unions, 4 teaching unions, called off their strikes and are urging their members to accept. So, yeah, the government is in this bizarre position where it's offered a 6% pay rise for doctors, which works out as an 8.3% pay rise for the average doctor and just over a 10% pay rise, as you say, for junior doctors on the lowest salary. The government says that's enough. Any more would be inflationary, would drive up interest rates even further, have a knock-on effect on people's mortgages, etc. So it's sticking with its line of 6%, and the unions are totally digging their heels in with 35%. So how on earth a compromise is going to be found is anyone's guess. But a compromise really does need to be found because, as we know, Rishi Sunak's very, very keen on getting his 5 priorities sorted, and one of those 5 priorities is cutting NHS waiting lists. NHS waiting lists now at record levels, 7.5 million people waiting for hospital treatment.
But do you think they do actually want a compromise? Do you think some of those people now in the BMA are far more political than otherwise they should be? They're not looking to settle it and get the right amount of money. They're just trying to bring down the government.
Well, when you hear the figures, it's hard not to think like that, because it doesn't seem as though, you know, if they were looking for a compromise, surely they wouldn't even be talking about 35% when the government is offering 6%. So it is possible that the BMA has become really quite politicised. And of course, it is quite possible that eventually, with the government really sticking to its line here, eventually junior doctors who, you know, need the money, don't particularly want to be on strike probably, might get fed up and start moving away from their union leaders. I think that's, at the moment, the government's best hope, because it doesn't look likely that the BMA is going to shift from 35% to being happy with 6%.